Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to talk about is, oh, well, first, hi, I'm Amanda. Um, I'm a late diagnosed autistic. Right now, self diagnosed with the uh, autistic quotient test and the RADS test. I guess that's how you say it. I don't know. Um, I have my first appointment on September 12th for an official medical diagnosis. All that being said, um, okay, I never know how to start these things out. I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what's too much, what's too little. Um, Let me see. My whole life, I have felt different, like different, like an alien, like life is just so impossibly hard. And I've always felt like it just shouldn't be that hard. But at the same time, my story, I was diagnosed at 16 with fibromyalgia and osteopenia. Uh, when I was diagnosed, the doctor specialist actually told me that I was a part of 2% in the United States to get diagnosed that young. He couldn't give me a reason why. Um, they suspected probably the drug use that I had back then. I was a very heavy drug user, so they suspected that that might have sped up some hereditary things. So finding out at 16 that I had two incurable conditions uh, that are both very painful. Um, it it was hard, but I also it made it really hard for me to distinguish throughout my life, like what this pain is and what that pain is. What is a symptom of fibromyalgia? What is a symptom of anxiety? What's are these severe migraines caused by this or this or this? Do you see what I mean? If you follow me, um, I've had random heart issues throughout my life as well, with no known cause. Um, the first one was I was around 12 years old, I think, maybe 13, and I was in dance. I was very active. Um, that's what my mom wanted from me. So that's what I was. Um, but I was very active. I was overworked, overwhelmed. I had so much going on in my life, and I was in the middle of a recital, and I collapsed. I just collapsed. I felt like my chest just imploded, like it just sunk in, like, and I had such a bad pain in my chest. It was absolutely horrible. Um, it was brutal. Uh, I ended up dropping out of all of the dance and the Girl Scouts and the karate and everything I was in. cheerleading, everything. Like, my mom had me in it all. But when that happened, I had reached enough. I was terrified. I was so scared that I was going to die. But at the same time, I was also suicidal. So explain that. But, yeah. Uh, I've had an incident where I took a diet pill in school and my heart almost exploded. Um, that one was explainable. Sorry, don't know where that came from. But anyways, um, throughout other moments of my life, when I was 16, I was in a very abusive marriage. Yes, you heard me, marriage. Um, I didn't want to get married. It was a forced marriage. But he was a heroin addict. And he was also bisexual. And that was back in the day when it was not safe for males to be gay of any kind. So that's, he probably had a lot of anger from that as well. Um, but anyways, we fought on a daily basis. And one day it got really bad and he hit me in the head with a 2x4. It knocked me unconscious and it caused acute brain damage on the left side of my brain, which also caused grand mal seizures and silent seizures for many years. Eventually, that brain damage healed and just went away, um, which is awesome. But a couple of years ago, I had a seizure out of the blue. Um, and it was really scary. I didn't know what was going on. And then a little while, maybe a few weeks after that, I was still under a great amount of stress, and I ended up losing time. And I had gone off by myself. I was living off grid in the mountains. And I had gone off by myself to self-isolate like I usually do. But I was very emotional and I was being very reckless. I was running through terrain that you should not run through at all. But I was doing it, and I had lost time, and I didn't realize that I'd had lost time until it started to hint that I might have had a seizure, because my body was hurting really, really, really bad, uh, head to toe. My head was pounding. I felt like I had just been run over by a Mack truck, like, and my boyfriend at the time had pointed out that I had a head injury and my head had blood on it as well. So then that's when I determined that I had had a seizure. We were on our way back home when I discovered this had happened. Well, I ended up going to the emergency room about a week later because I wasn't able to eat. Like, I couldn't eat, and if you see me, you can see that that is not acceptable. I go through moments in my life where I just can't eat. I'm so sick at my stomach, and there's no reason why. Well, there is now. I know it's autism, but um, yeah, I had gone to the emergency room because I was so weak, and I was just really worried about the amount of weight that I was losing. And I actually ended up having a seizure right there in the emergency room. And it was so weird. I've been poked and prodded by the hospitals and stuff my whole life, and but when they drew my blood and gave me saline solution, I went into a seizure. The way that my boyfriend described it to me was definitely a grand mal seizure. What they put on the paperwork, however, was syncopal moment. That's literally what they put. They put I had a syncopal moment. It's a new one for me. I don't even really know what all to talk about. I don't know what direction to go. I'm new to this. I've been studying me my whole life, if that makes sense to any of you. I've always referred to myself as a nerd. I research everything, and especially things that relate to me. And I just found out that it's also something that some autistics do. And it doesn't make us selfish, which I always felt that it did make me selfish. And now that I know, my brain's just wired differently. And that's okay. Now that I know that, it seems so much more interesting that I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but I'm really happy that I have found out why I am the way I am, why I have been so weird my whole life. Yet, in a lot of situations, seem normal to so many people, but yet I have never felt like I fit in, even in my own family. Like, nowhere. When I found out that I was Rh negative when I had my son, the doctor didn't tell me much about it. He just said, you're Rh negative, you need to take this shot. If you don't, your body will kill your baby. That's all he said. Okay. So I did it, and many years later, after I got over the fact that I was absolutely terrified of TikTok, yeah, you heard me, I was scared to death because I believed everything everyone had said. Very gullible person here. Can't help it. I try not to be, but I am. I finally got on TikTok last year, and that's when I discovered the significance of my negative blood. I didn't even know, like, all the interesting things. It's so cool. They don't even know where it comes from. Like, they call it alien, and I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, you know what? That makes perfect sense. Duh, I'm an alien. So, yeah, that's where my name comes from on here. Local little alien. I'm going to try to think of some more things to say and talk about. I have a feeling that I will probably do more and know more directions to go once I do get my medical diagnosis, because then I will probably feel more comfortable. I'm trying to get myself out of that. All the other late diagnosed autistics that I've talked to have said that, self-diagnosis is perfectly valid. And then on top of that, I've had my 3 different tests done. So I'm trying. Y'all, please give me some feedback. Let me know what you think. Let me know if I'm doing this right. Please.